Snapchat makes its debut on the New York Stock Exchange, NASA makes its software catalog public, and 1 Bitcoin becomes more valuable than 1 ounce of gold. It's Thursday, March 2nd, and this is Crunch Report. When you're a parent and you're at your kid's graduation, you see them walking across the stage, they're all grown up, moving on, I can imagine you get all choked up. Well, we're all getting choked up today seeing Snap Inc. blossoming into a big boy company and raising $3.4 billion. They grow so fast. To talk to us more about Snap Inc.'s debut on the New York Stock Exchange, we got TechCrunch reporter Katie Roof here, who has been tracking the company since they were a wee lad. Welcome, Katie.
Thanks for having me on, Tito.
So, Katie, how is the whole Snap IPO going? It's almost the end of the first day, or is it the end of the first day now?
Yeah, actually, the day finished. They were up about 44% from yesterday. They priced their IPO yesterday at $17 a share, and then it opened. That's where the normal people get to invest at 24, and then it closed at about $24.50. So the new investors that invested today didn't make a ton of money, but the people who get access to the IPO, which is like basically people who are connected with the banks and some institutional investors, they made a lot of money. And then Snapchat, the company, and its investors also made a lot of money because they sold, when they sold the shares for $17 a share, they raised $3.4 billion for the company. So it valued the company as of yesterday, $24 billion, and today it's closer to $30 billion.
How does Wall Street see Snapchat? I don't know if you have any idea. Like, are they a camera company? Are they a hardware company, an advertising company, an app? Like, do you have any idea?
Well, they're definitely marketing themselves as a camera company. I watched their investor roadshow video, the video that they try to convince people to invest in Snapchat, and all they kept talking about was, we're a camera company this, we're a camera company that. That's really what they want to be known as. And so that's why they changed their name to Snap Inc., the parent of Snapchat, because they don't want to just be known as an app. They also have spectacles, the glasses, as you know, that can help you broadcast what you're seeing and put that on Snapchat. So what they're going to be doing along the lines of cameras, I think they're trying to think outside of the box, but they're no longer just an app. That's clearly the message they're trying to sell investors, and it looks like at least today investors bought it.
How long do you think it'll be until we know whether this IPO was successful?
Well, the IPO was successful, but what we don't know is how Snapchat's going to do in the coming months on the stock market. And so this reminds me of Twitter, which did well on its first day, but then had a really volatile time in the stock market and really isn't doing very well relative to how it started. Whereas Facebook, on the other hand, had a terrible first day on its IPO. It didn't go up at all, which normally they do expect it to go up a certain percentage on the first day. And so that was disappointing. But meanwhile, investors who held on to their stock made a lot of money because it did really well over time. So we don't know yet what will happen with Snapchat.
Why did Snap decide to opt to price its stock the way that it did?
So they set a range before the IPO of $14 to $16 a share, and so they priced at $17, a little bit above the range. Basically what they do is they do this investor roadshow where they try to assess how much appetite there is for the stock. And so the bankers ultimately help them make their decision that at what price they think it will do well in the market.
So was it priced well since there was such a huge pop?
Yeah, I would say that they did price it pretty well. I mean, actually, if anything, you could say they left money on the table, because when there is a 44% gain from the IPO price to where it closed today, that basically means they could have probably sold it for more than 17. They could have priced it at 18 or 19, and it still would have had a big enough gain where it would have been a solid debut that makes them look good, but then they also would have made as much money as possible because they're the ones selling the shares.
Who's going to be making money from this, and when will they be able to cash out?
Well, so the company itself made a bit of money. They raised $3.4 billion in the IPO. And then there's the venture investors. So Benchmark, Lightspeed, General Catalyst, they were all early enough in Snapchat that they made a lot of money. And so a lot of these investors in the company, a lot of the people who work at the company don't get to sell their shares actually until 5 months after the IPO.
And that's pretty typical.
Yeah, and so that is pretty typical. Although usually it's 6 months, but 5 months is close enough. But that's what's called a lockup period, and that's when employees can sell their shares and go buy a house. But the company already made a lot of money here, and they can eventually do secondary offerings and continue to release more shares. So it's a fundraising event for the company and then a big money maker for investors and early employees.
Big day for tech, big day for Snap. It's just a big day all around. Katie Roof, thank you so much for being with us today and telling us about everything.
Thank you.
While all y'all were snapping each other about the Snap IPO, NASA was busy NASing, and by that I mean releasing a software program called Snap. That instead is an N-body high-fidelity propagation program that can model the trajectories of planets, the sun, and virtually any natural satellite in the solar system. Now that sounds like $27 billion in market value. It also turns out that Snap wasn't the only fun piece of NASA software released to the public. The catalog includes some nifty tools that could find their way into mathematical modeling and data analysis projects. And if you're not much for actual mission-critical software, you can just be lame and play a Unity-based spacewalk. Game is a simulation. Not actually that lame. That's actually pretty cool. All the goodies are available at nasa.software.gov. This just really shows the times that we are living in. For the first time in humankind's history, the price of 1 Bitcoin has passed up the value of 1 ounce of gold. While today's swap can be attributed to a good day for Bitcoin up around 3% and a bad day for gold down about 1.3%, the big picture is that Bitcoin has more than doubled in the last year, up around 185% from a year ago, while gold is essentially trading exactly at the price it was a year ago. But what does that mean? Do we live in the future now? Will my dad finally be using Bitcoin as normally as he uses cash? Is there even a correlation between gold and Bitcoin value? Nope. But that Bitcoin though. That's the report for today. I'm Tito Hamzy. Crunch Report airs every weekday at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific on TechCrunch.com. You also find us on iTunes and on YouTube. Guys, happy Snapchat Snap Day. Thank you to Katie Roof, and we'll see you tomorrow.